Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 17 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Abdella, and Abdella wants to know, Abdella says, Big Brother US is great, but are you watching Big Brother UK? I'm not. I don't know, I can't get into the format. I just feel like it's so different than Big Brother US. I don't know how I feel about all the outside influence from the audience. It just like weirds me out, and it's on like every night, and it's just like, it's a lot. I don't know, but I find it very interesting. It's just so much different. But do you guys watch Big Brother UK? Let me know in the comments. Alright, so yesterday they had the power veto ceremony and James did not use it, which means that Shelly and Clay remain up on the block. One of them's going home on Thursday. Yes. So when the feeds came back, Shelly and Clay were already sulking in bed. Shelly's crying and they're just like, we only have 4 days left, so we need to really make them good. Define good. I don't know. I don't know. 4 more days of no kissing and whatever. So anyway, Clay is just like, oh, I don't even want to talk to anyone else the rest of the time that we're together, blah, blah, blah. Not only because he wants to just talk to Shelly, but also because he's like pissed at everybody. I don't think that's going to help your case. But Shelly is really regretting throwing Austin under the bus. It didn't work, and I mean, would she have regretted it if it worked? Probably not. But it didn't. And now whoever stays this next week is going to have to deal with the consequences of that. So Austin and Vanessa were having a chat, and oh look, this is already coming up. So she tells him, so Shelly and Clay came crying to me at like 5 or 6 in the morning. They had just come downstairs from the HOH after spilling all this info to James. So Vanessa's just like pissed, like they're blowing up our games. So she doesn't tell Austin everything that Shelly and Clay told James, but she said they were implying that Austin should go up on the block in their place, in one of their places. So yeah, they weren't just implying it. They friggin' threw him under the bus and drove back and forth over his Judas body. So Vanessa is talking about how she's really pissed that they're letting James pull them apart like this. Yeah. So the next step moving forward, they want to know exactly what Shelly and Clay spilled to James. So Liz and Julia were chatting about this whole situation in the bathroom, and Liz is pissed. Liz business. So she's like, I have no sympathy for them. I want both of them out now. Me too. So they also were talking about how they think that Clay is kind of an idiot for throwing his game away for Shelly, because he's all like, vote me out, keep Shelly in the house, blah. So they're just like, Mommy would be so pissed if we went home like that, the way that he's gonna go home. Mommy would be so pissed. But his mommy's in the house with him. So anyway, they were also saying like they're not even gonna be together in a few years. Is it even gonna last that long? I don't know. But yeah, they're not happy with Shelly and Clay. So then Vanessa brings Shelly into the have-not room to chat, and Shelly's just like, do the others know that we sold them out? And Vanessa's just like, yeah, James told them. But like, Vanessa told them too. But she said, yeah, James didn't tell them any specifics, so you're gonna have to explain yourself to them if you know, want to even have a chance of staying this week. So she's like, James told me that you told him about our alliance. Is that true? And Shelly's like, no way. Like, I definitely did not out the alliance to James. That did not happen. So he must have figured it out on his own. I don't think they did out the alliance. So I think Vanessa was bluffing there to try and like get some more information out of Shelly. But Shelly was like, no, he figured it out on his own. He's trying to pit us against each other with this information. So Vanessa's like, well, I want you to know, like, what you did was really, really dumb. Don't pull that S again. But I'm going to try and get the votes for you this week. So I'm going to need you to do some damage control and just stop doing what you were doing. So Vanessa then goes back to Austin and Liz, and she's like, Shelly swears she did not out the alliance to James. She was swearing up and down like it didn't happen. So then Vanessa starts her campaigning for Shelly. She's like, we need to keep her this week. She's definitely going to help our alliance more than Clay would, and I think that's true. So Austin is just like, yeah, I could do that if Shelly goes up to James and tells him that she was lying about all that information. Would he really believe that? I mean, it's kind of pointless, but that's what Austin wants to happen, and Vanessa's like, yeah, she'll probably do that. I could see that happening. So then Shelly goes on her publicity tour. She goes and talks to Austin and the twins in the backyard, and she's like, again, like, I never told James about the alliance, but I did tell him about your Judas alter ego and that you voted for Audrey to stay. Sorry. So after chatting for a while and being like, why did you do that? I can't believe you did that. They said, you know what, Shelly, we forgive you. We want you to stay this week over Clay. I don't want either of them to stay, but I definitely do not want Shelly to stay. So then Vanessa continues campaigning for Shelly. Next stop is Steve. So she's telling Steve, we need to keep Shelly this week. It seems like Clay and James have had this thing going since the beginning, so that's why James wants to keep Clay this week. But why are we going to go ahead and do what he wants? Let's vote out Clay and keep Shelly. So Steve is like, that's a really good point. Also, Shelly is definitely the bigger threat when you compare Shelly and Clay, so let's keep her, and then the other side is going to go after her before they go after us. So it's the whole shield argument again that Steve loves. So it seems like he's on board, which is okay. So then meanwhile, James, Meg, and Jackie are strategizing in the backyard, and they're talking about how they still want Shelly to go home this week. They don't really realize that the tides are turning and the other side is not going to vote the way that they want them to. So after Shelly goes, they want to go after Vanessa next. They're not really worried about getting rid of Clay anytime soon. They've finally realized that Vanessa is kind of a mastermind. So they're saying she's shady as hell. We need to get rid of her. So then last night, Clay and Vanessa were chatting in the bathroom, and this was pretty interesting. Clay seems to think that he's going to be staying this week, even though he's been campaigning to go. So he was asking Vanessa, like, is there any shot for Shelly to stay this week? Like, it sounds like it's going to be a unanimous vote. And Vanessa's just like, what? So, like, Clay has no idea what's going on. But Vanessa tells him, like, that's not really what James wants. He doesn't want Shelly to stay. But I definitely don't think that the vote is going to be unanimous. So she's not telling him yet what's going to happen. They're kind of keeping him in the dark with that whole thing. It's pretty interesting. So then Vanessa and Austin were chatting in the backyard, and there's just a lot more discussion about keeping Shelly over Clay. And Austin is like, yeah, you know what? I don't mind getting rid of Clay because he's being really weird and obnoxious right now. Clay really is not talking to anyone really except for Shelly and, like, Vanessa. He's giving people, like, these angry looks and stuff. It's not helping him. But it's interesting because Austin was like, he won't even look at me, but then he was like, yeah, he keeps glaring at me. Well, which one is it? Like, you can't do both. So Austin, at the same time, does not want to blindside James with this vote. He has a good thing going with him at this point, and he doesn't want to throw a wrench in that anytime soon. So he wants to warn James that they're thinking about flipping the vote at some point. I don't think James is going to be happy about that. But then Vanessa and Austin were talking about our beautiful, wonderful Johnny Mac, and it was not good. They were talking about how he might need to go home soon. They were really weirded out by how emotional he was when Shelly and Clay were put up on the block. Remember, he was, like, crying by himself and stuff. So they're thinking whoever stays this week is going to have Johnny Mac in their back pocket. And that's not good for them. They can't have Shelly or Clay, like, building up this army outside of them. So they think they need to nip that in the bud. Not Johnny Mac. So today, James got the HOH camera. Yay, more pictures of sleeping house guests. I love that. It's great. And then a little while later, the house guests had a special luxury competition of some sort. It had to do with current events and celebrity news. Looks like they did pretty well because they won multiple nights of takeout food. So I don't know how this is going to affect the have-nots, but I'll have that information for you guys tomorrow. And so much more. Does anyone want to take bets on how many times they're going to flip-flop between keeping Shelly and Clay? Let me know in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love.